What's going on, people? Mr. Odin's here. I hope everyone had a fantastic weekend and that you are now ready to seize the week and do some maths, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Today's lesson is all about creating timetables using specific information that you have been given, which is slightly different to what you did on Friday, and you'll find out now. Just to let everybody know, if you're watching this, okay, it is so important that you send me your work, okay? Even if you don't want to see me dance, okay, that's one thing, right? But, okay, the main reason why you need to send your work in is because obviously all this COVID business means that you guys are not at school, okay? And you're missing lots and lots of school time, okay? Now, next year, it is unlikely that you're going to have time to go over everything that we have been learning in the last couple of months. So it is very important that I know, okay, how well you're doing, if you understand it, because if you don't understand something and we're not teaching it again next year, then you're not gonna know that, okay? And then that's gonna be a big problem. Okay, so it's so important that you will send me your work so I can see how you are doing. I mean, lots of you are doing it, so well done. But there's a few of you who aren't. So if you're watching this and you haven't sent some work, please send it. If you don't know how to send it, okay, write a comment below, let me know, and I'm all happy to help you. Or send me an email, send your teacher an email, send anyone an email, and we will help you to do it. It's just very important that I know that you're doing the work. Excellent. Have a fantastic lesson, and please send your work to year5 at Grange.Harrow.ch.uk, and I look forward to seeing it. Enjoy the lesson, guys. Goodbye. Right, so what are you going to need for the lesson? You're going to need something to write with and some paper. Excellent. And as I always say at this point, if you do not have these things, please go and get them, as they are very important for today's lesson, and then come back when you are ready to continue. Oh, are you going to work? Or are you not going to work? Sorry. Oh, there we go. So, the LI today is I can create timetables using specific information, okay? I can create timetables using specific information, and the date today, the short date, is the 8th of the 6th, 2020. So please pause the video, write the LI and the date at the top of the page, and then press play when you are ready to continue. Excellent. We're now going to go into our success criteria. Our success criteria today is I know how to create a timetable and I can use specific information to create a timetable. Remember the success criteria, the steps we need to take, okay, to achieve our objective, which is this, okay? And we're now going to move on to our recap, which is all about area, okay? So remember, we did area quite a long time ago, so it is very important that we go over this again to really strengthen the understanding in your head. So here we have 4 shapes. Now, each of these are kind of very difficult shapes to find areas of. They're not like just easy one kind of layered shapes, okay? So I've actually helped you out here. So this is a shape, this is a shape, this is a shape, this is a shape. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to work out the individual areas of the shapes and then the whole area. Okay, so area A is this one, area B, and then the whole area. Okay, now in a normal situation, this wouldn't already all these shapes wouldn't already be divided up. You'd have to do it yourself, but I have done it for you today. So that is your task. Please complete those. So pause the video, complete these, the areas of these 4 shapes, and then press play when you're ready to go through these. Excellent. So shape 1, the area of this one is 9. The area of B is 10, 5 times 2, and then you just do 3 times 2. So the area in total, 9 plus 10 is 19 centimeters squared. Remember, if it's area, it's centimeters squared, or it could be meters squared. Number 2, the area of A is 18 centimeters. That's centimeters squared, so that's 6 times 3. B is 3 times 4, which is 12 centimeters squared, and C is 10 centimeters squared, which is 5 times 2. So then in total, 18 plus 12 plus 10 is 40 centimeters squared. Now, number three, 4 times 4 is 16 centimeters squared, B is 12 centimeters squared, and C is 15 centimeters squared. If you add all of those up, the total area of that shape is 43 centimeters squared. And then the fourth one, A is 20, 4 times 5 centimeters, and then B is 6 centimeters times 3 centimeters, which equals 18 centimeters. 20 plus 18 centimeters is equal to 38 centimeters. Now, I'm sure most of you got that right, but if you didn't, don't worry. I would recommend practicing these. I can give you some examples, or if you really just don't know how to do it at all, that is fine. But you need to make sure that you email me, because area is something that you definitely need to know. Okay. Excellent. So we're now going to move on to our starter for today. So how many hours are there in 123 minutes? And how many seconds are there in 3 minutes? I'd like you to complete these questions underneath the recap. So please pause the video, complete this task, and then press play when you're ready to go through it. Excellent. So how many hours are there in 123 minutes? Now, there's various ways you can work this out, but this is the way that I've done it. Okay, so I just know in my head that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So I'm just going to keep counting 60 minutes until I get to 123 minutes, and then I'll know the hours. Okay, so 60 minutes is 1 hour. Okay. Now, I'm going to add another 60 minutes. 120 minutes is 2 hours. Okay, and we want 123 minutes. So if I add another 60, that'd be 180. So that's too much. So I just then want to know how many minutes I've got. So 1 hour 20 to 120 to 123. The difference is 3. So that tells me that I've got 2 hours and 3 minutes. Okay. You can do it another way if you wanted to. That's kind of just the way I do it. The next one is how many seconds are there in 3 minutes? Now, in 1 minute, we know there are 60 seconds. So if you've got 3 minutes, that's going to be 3 lots of 60 seconds. 60 times 3 is equal to 180 seconds. Or you could just add it up. You could just do 60 plus 60, which is 120, and then 60 again, which is 180. Now, as again, I'm sure most of you got that right, but if you didn't, maybe do some more, more learning on this. I can give you some support. You just need to make me aware of it so I can help you. Okay, excellent. Right, we're now going to move on to the main part of the lesson for today, which is all about making a timetable. Now, on Friday, you guys made timetables, but you made it on your own information, okay, which is important. But today, we are going to be making timetables. You are going to be making timetables using information that somebody has given you, okay? And this is important because in your lives, okay, there'll be lots of times where people will say, right, please can you go and create a timetable? This is when this starts, this is when this starts, this is when this starts. This will last for this amount of time, this will last for that amount of time, and you've got to go away and create a timetable. It could be in your job, it could be if you want to run an activity for other people, anything. If you're a teacher maybe, or I don't know, anything. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. I'm going to go through an example with you first of how to do it, as always. And then you're going to do one with me, and then you're going to do them yourself. Excelente. So the timetable we're going to make is a train timetable, the first one. And I've been given this information. The train leaves London. This is a train from London to Birmingham. A train leaves London at 3 p.m. and arrives in Durham 45 minutes later. The train from Durham leaves at 3 p.m. and arrives in Aston at 5 o'clock. The train leaves Aston at 5 o'clock and arrived in Birmingham 83 minutes later. So I've got this information and I need to make a timetable out of this. So the best way to do this really is just to kind of organize everything together, working out when a train leaves, when it arrives. Okay. So as you can see, it's kind of we've just got the information. It's not in a table. So we need to think of the best way to put it in a table. You've also got things which are in minutes here. So we don't actually know what time that arrives. We need to kind of convert it. So there's lots of things we need to do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through each one and find out when the train arrives and when it leaves and when it leaves, when it arrives. Okay. So here we go. Pardon me. The first one we're going to do is this one. So the train leaves London at 3 p.m. and arrives in Durham 45 minutes later. Okay. So 3 p.m. is when it arrives in London. and it arrives in Durham 45 minutes later. So to work out when it arrives in Durham, you just need to add 45 minutes on to 3 p.m. Okay, so if you add 45 minutes onto 3 p.m., that is 3:45. So we know that the train arrives in Durham at 3:45. Okay, now the next one, it says this: the train arrives at its next destination, Aston, at 5 p.m. Okay, so we know that the train left arrived in Durham at 3:45 because we found that out here. And then it arrived in its next destination, Aston, at 5 p.m. Okay, so that tells you that. And the last one, I think that's the last one. Yeah, the train left Aston at 5 o'clock and arrived in Birmingham 83 minutes later. So we know the train left Aston. We know the train arrived at Aston at 5 p.m. It also left Aston at 5 p.m. and it arrived in Birmingham 83 minutes later. So to work out what time it arrived in Birmingham, okay, we need to add 83 minutes to 5 o'clock, okay? And then we will know what time the train arrived in Birmingham, okay? So the easiest way to do this is really just to turn it into hours and minutes, as we are working in hours and minutes. At the moment, this is just in minutes. We need it in hours and minutes. So to do that, you just need to convert 83 into hours and minutes. So we know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So we know we've got 1 hour, okay? And then if we added another 60 minutes, that'd be 120. That's too much. So what we need to do is just to find out how many extra minutes there are. And there are 23 extra minutes, okay? The way to work that out would just to be find the difference between 60 and 83, which is 23. So what we need to do now is we know 83 minutes is 1 hour and 23 minutes. We need to add 1 hour and 20 minutes on to 5 o'clock. So 1 hour would be 6 o'clock. And then if you were to add 20, sorry, that it's 5, no, I got that wrong. It would be 6:23, okay? Oh, 6:23. Excellent. So I've now got all my information together. I know the train leaves London at 3 p.m. and it arrives in Durham at 3:45. I know the train leaves Durham at 3:45 and arrives in Aston at 5 o'clock. And then I know the train leaves Aston at 5 o'clock and arrives in Birmingham 83 minutes later and at 6:23. And the reason I know this is because I've kind of organised everything together and gone through each one and worked out what time it arrives, what times it leaves. And then the last thing to do is just to put it in a table. Okay, so I've got my destination here and my time. So arrives in London at 3 o'clock and that's when it leaves. It arrives in Durham at 3:45. It arrives in Aston at 5 o'clock. And then lastly, it arrives in Birmingham at 6:28. So that is a way of using information you have and putting it into a timetable. Now you are going to come up with your own timetable now for another example. So here is information I've given you. A football day starts at 5 p.m. and finishes at 11 p.m. Match A starts at 5 p.m. and will last 45 minutes. Match B finishes at 7. That'll be 7 p.m. Sorry, let me just make these clear for you. 7 p.m. and lasts for 1 hour. Okay, everyone has a drinks break at 9 p.m. which lasts 180 seconds. And match C starts at 10 p.m. and will take 53 minutes. So what you need to do, your task, okay, is to turn this information into a timetable. Okay, you're going to turn this information into a timetable. Okay, so what I want you to do is kind of follow the method I've just done. You want to go through each one and work out what time it starts, what time it finishes, and then put it into a table, and you can design the table however you like. So please pause the video, complete that task, and then press play, and we will go through this. Excellent. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through each statement with you, and then, yeah, so hopefully you've done this. So match A starts at 5 p.m. So let's just go through each one at a time. Okay, so match A starts at 5 p.m. will last 5. So it starts at 5. We know it starts at 5 p.m. and it will last 45 minutes. Okay, so again, we need to find out what time it finishes. So 45 minutes plus 5 p.m. is 5:45. Okay. So I know match A starts at 5 p.m. and will last 45 minutes. Okay, excellent. Next one is match B. Match B finishes at 7 p.m. and lasts for 1 hour. Okay, so match B finishes at 7 p.m. and lasts for 1 hour. Okay, so this is interesting because I've kind of changed it around, made it a bit more difficult. I tell you what time it finishes. I didn't tell you what time it started. Okay, so it finished at 7 p.m. and it lasted for an hour. Okay, so what you need to do then is kind of be like, right, what's 1 hour before 7 p.m.? Okay, because I've told you what time it finishes and I told you it lasted an hour. So you need to be like, right, what is 1 hour before 7 p.m.? 1 hour before 7 p.m. is 6 p.m. Okay, so it must have started at 6 and finished at 7. Okay, so we know that. Then the next statement was everyone has a drinks break at 9 p.m. which lasts for 180 seconds. Okay, everyone has a drinks break at 9 p.m. which lasts for 180 seconds. Now, right, so we need to work out what 180 seconds is in minutes and hours. Okay, and once we've done that, we can then add it to 9 p.m. to find out when the drinks break finished. Okay, so 180 seconds. Remember, in each minute there is 60 seconds, so you just got to work it out. You kind of just add up. So 60 is 1 minute, 120 is 2 minutes, and then another 60 is 180, so it's 3 minutes. Okay, so it started at 9 p.m. Okay, and then it finished 3 minutes later. So you've got to add on 3 minutes, which is 9:03. Okay, and the last one was match C. Match C starts at 5 p.m. and will take 53 minutes. Okay, so match C starts at 10 p.m. and will take 53 minutes. Okay, so we know it starts at 10 p.m. and it takes 53 minutes. You've just got to add 53 minutes on, which would be 10:53. And now what you've got to do is you have just got to put it all in a table. Now, the design of your table is up to you. As long as it makes sense, that is fine. This is the one that I did, okay? Match time. So 5:45, okay? It's 5 to 5:45 was match A. 6 to 7 p.m. will be match B, okay? 9 to 9:03 will be our drinks break, okay? And then match C is from 10 to 10:53. So as long as you've got something similar to this, that is good. Okay, if you've struggled with this, don't worry. I know it's not the easiest, it's fairly difficult. Okay, so please don't worry. Okay, what's important is that you maybe look over the video again or send me an email so I can provide you with some extra support. All right, excellent. Now, superstars, this is your task. Okay, school day from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. PE starts at 9 a.m. and lasts 43 minutes. All classes have a break at 9:43, which lasts for 120 seconds. English finishes at 10:45 and lasts for 20 minutes. And math starts at 11 and finishes at 12. Okay, so what you need to do now is with this information, you need to turn it into a table. So what I'd do, the first thing I would do is do what I've done, go through each one and find out what time it starts, what time it finishes. And then after you've done that, you've got all of them, you can then move on to creating your table. So superstars, please pause the video, complete this task, and then come back and we will go through the answers. Excellent. Welcome back, superstars. So these are your answers. Okay, that is the table. Okay, so P starts at 9, finishes at 9:43. Then you've got a break from 9:43 to 9:45. And then English is from 10:25 to 10:45. And maths is from 11 to 12. Okay, now, if you've got a table that looks like this, fantastic. If it's a bit different, but as long as I'll see it when you send it to me anyway, but as long as it's kind of along these lines, then that is absolutely fine. Now, superstars, if you'd like to go, that is fine. Please send me your work. I'd recommend staying for the Bluezone activity, but if not, then please do not worry. Bluezone, this is your question. There are 5 TV programs on between 5 and 11. The news starts at 6 p.m. and lasts for 45 minutes. Mindless is on for 1 hour and ends at 6 p.m. Junk Collectors is on for 75 minutes and starts straight after the news. Catch Up is on for 300 seconds and starts at 8. The Thirsty Games is on for 175 minutes and ends at 11. And you need to make a timetable for this. Okay, so you've got all these TV programs in the evening from 5 to 11. You need to create a timetable for them. So superstars, please pause the video, complete this task, and then press play when you are ready to go through this. Welcome back, Bluezone. So this is your timetable. This is what your timetable should look like. So mine list is on from 5 to 6. Okay, the news is from 6 to 6:45. Junk collectors is from 6:45 to 8. Catch up is from 8 to 8:05. And thirsty games is from 8:05 to 11. Okay, so that is what your timetable looks like. Or if you've got a little different, if it's kind of a bit different, that's fine, but I'll see it so I can check if it's okay. Excellent. We're now going to move on to the challenge. So 3 trains travel from city station to farmland station on the same morning. The express leaves city 10 minutes after the all stations train but arrives at farmland 10 minutes before it. The all stations takes 50 minutes to reach farmland and arrives at 10:30. The goods train leaves 20 minutes before the all stations and arrives at farmland 20 minutes after the express. You need to create a timetable for this. So you've got 3 trains. You've got the express, you've got the all stations train, and you've got the goods train. Okay, you need to create a timetable for the trains. Okay, this will be a challenge, but it's good. Okay, so good luck with that. Okay, please make sure you send me all your work. It is extremely, extremely important, especially if you want to see me doing a silly dance, which I'll do on Friday if I can get 80% of work from all 3 classes. Okay, apart from me doing a silly dance, it is exceptionally important, I will reiterate this, it's exceptionally important that you send me your work, because I need to know, okay, how much you're learning. We're not going to be it's unlikely that next year you're going to have a chance to go back over this. So if you don't know it now, it's going to be a problem. So it's very, very important that you let me know, okay, you send me your work so I know how you're doing. Okay, it's very, 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 very important. Excellent. Year 5, thank you very much for coming on to the lesson today. Please send your work to year5@grange.harrow.sch.uk, and I look forward to seeing it, and I shall see you tomorrow. Goodbye.